Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar. I know a few days ago we talked about the world's largest cyber war is happening right now. And you know, I told you that I was going to cover a bunch of hacks that were basically going to happen in the next couple weeks, months, whatever. What if I told you one of them is already happening right now in the next couple days? Now, to understand what's actually happened in the last few weeks is a hacker group has emerged. Now, this is known as Lapsus $, okay? That's their hacker name, if you will. And this hacking group has sort of evolved itself. In the last 2-3 weeks, they've hacked NVIDIA. And in the last couple days, they hacked Samsung. Now, of course, if you imagine, these are two very large companies. Now, everyone has basically been uploading, like a lot of the tech channels have covered NVIDIA and their hack, and they basically looked at all the stuff that got leaked out, such as their DLSS technology and some possibly new graphic cards and technologies that are on the horizon. But there's something about these leaks that we need to talk about, and that's certification. Now, let's talk about drivers, okay? Every time you buy yourself a shiny new graphic card, a gaming mouse, maybe a headset, I don't know, maybe like one of those USB 3 vibrators, I don't know, maybe a Mobi Huge for your system. You need to have a driver when it connects to your computer, right? When your operating system recognizes a new piece of hardware, like a graphic card, you might notice that the resolution is all square, 800 by 600. That's because the Windows detects a graphic card, but it says, hey, I don't really have the resources to operate this efficiently, I just have a basic driver. It then goes to Windows Update, and then it downloads a driver for NVIDIA, AMD, Intel, depending on what the graphic card brand is. It'll say, hey, I have a driver from here, let's download it, install it, and all of a sudden, you get your full resolution, you get a little bit of a, you get maybe like 120 frames per second hertz, whatever you want to call it. But realistically, you're going to go to AMD.com, NVIDIA.com, Intel to download the graphic card driver of your choice, okay? That's typically how it works. Any piece of hardware that's specialized needs a specialized driver. The driver is basically a piece of software that the company writes to help the hardware communicate efficiently with the actual operating system indeed. That's pretty much the role of a driver. Now, for security reason, you can imagine that a piece of software that has such low-level access to your operating system should probably be digitally signed. It should be verified. There's got to be something in check, and there is. Every time you download a driver, it comes with a digital certification, a little signature. Now, Windows looks at the signature and says, whoa, this graphic card driver or driver in general is completely halal, valid, kosher, whatever you want to call it. What happens when hackers take a fake certificate that can actually pass and qualify for Windows 10 and get away with it? Well, they can use that signature to basically infect your computer and basically get past a few security gaps. Now, in this case, this is exactly what was happening. Now, for a lot of people who are in the graphic card market, you know that it's a little dry on these streets. And the problem with a lot of the graphic card markets right now is that it's basically been dominated by people who are into crypto mining. Now, if you've ever been to a PC store and you looked at their power supply units, some of the stuff that you'll see being sold are like 1600 PSU watt power supplies. Those are designed for computers that are basically running graphic cards in like parallel. So why would somebody do that? Well, it's literally to crypto mine. So basically they put all these graphic cards into a computer, they run a version of Linux or Windows, and they're basically utilizing a program that allows them to use these graphic cards to mine cryptocurrencies like Ethereum. Now, what NVIDIA has done to make sure that these people are discouraged is they've introduced something known as LHR, which is light hash rate. Basically, when NVIDIA's graphic card driver detects that you are actually crypto mining, it'll artificially limit the actual productivity of your graphic card to discourage miners. Now, at the same time, there's plenty of people who have realized, we can unlock parts of that card. So, for instance, this is NB Miner, which basically unlocks, I believe, up to 50% of the card to be used. It's not a complete bypass, but every percent counts for people who are crypto mining. Again, AMD, as far as I know, doesn't actually do that, so they're kind of like the de facto, choice for people who are in this market. But this is good for people that are into the gaming side. This does not affect your gaming performance. If anything, this discourages that douchey part of the market and puts more graphic cards in the hands, or at least appeals in the hands of gamers, okay, which is their target audience. Now, let's get one thing going on forward, okay? What hackers have done is they've been utilizing the leaked certifications from the NVIDIA hack by this one hacking group to actually infect people with malicious malware. Yes, they're literally trying to hack your graphic card, and by doing so, hack your actual computer. So let's get down to how they're doing it. So one of the files that got detected by VirusTotal was something known as Quasar.exe. So Quasar.exe comes with something that is known as Quasar Server, which is a remote administration tool. If you remember when we talked about Discord rats, this is actually software that is not completely malicious by nature. It's literally just to remote administrate into a computer. So what they're doing is they're actually downloading this tool for free off of like GitHub right now, Quasar at this moment. This tool basically allows you to create a remote administration, basically net. Basically, it will allow you to create clients that you can then send to people who are unsuspecting over Discord, over any file sharing service, maybe as a malicious download, which is what happened in this case. And because they're attaching it with, digital certificates from NVIDIA, even though that those certificates are expired, they're able to bypass, Windows security. They're able to just basically get people to download this tool, install it, and be infected. So once you run that tool, you show up in the hacker's computer as, somebody infected, as you're seeing over here. And then they're able to look into your computer's desktop, basically fuddle around, and in fact, go look through your file structure and do a million other things. For instance, they can even look into your task manager. They can fire up a remote shell, which is very bad. Remote execution, very bad. And in fact, in some cases, do some keyloggers. And if you think that's it, well, trust me, there's many more. Now, if you look back, this is actually the real thing. For instance, this file, Quasar Server, has a one-signer. NVIDIA Corporation. Now, you might be like, whoa, what does NVIDIA have to do with Quasar? Absolutely nothing, other than the fact that because of their hack, these people are using leaked certification to get by any security gaps that they have, or at least as many as they could. See, as you can see over here, NVIDIA says this driver, by the way, it says this is not time valid. Just because the certificate is not time valid does not mean that it can't really be installed on Windows 10. But we'll get to all that in a little second. Now, of course, by running this malware, you're basically, opening yourself up, you're goatseeing your computer for any other hacker to basically utilize. Now, because of this popularity of NVIDIA and just cryptocurrency in general, and really appealing to crypto miners, a lot of hacker groups have actually been releasing malware in the disguise as something that's actually going to get rid of that LHR bypass that we were just talking about earlier. For instance, I saw this 2 weeks ago on Reddit, which absolutely blew my mind. Unlocked RTX LHR cards. So has anybody actually been using these programs? So for instance, they linked something by somebody known as Sergey, okay? So I looked up an archive of Sergey's device, and Sergey released this badass thing. This first fully automated BIOS modifier for RTX cards with LHR V2 unlock. Using it is simple, intuitive, and requires no advanced knowledge. So as you go down, they tell you, hey boys, you can get the RTX 3080, 3070, and 3060. In fact, you can even use the A-series RTX cards. But then they show us like bullshit screenshots of how effective this 3060 is. Now, if you're a crypto mining douchebag, this might be like, whoa, this appeals to me. This is what I want. So then they release this program that already looks sketch as hell. You run this, read, modify, you basically run this program, and again, it does look sketchy, but of course it has a nice swirly animation. It writes, a new BIOS to your GPU, basically modifies the firmware, and people believe that, hey, now I can crypto mine. Except you can't, because what this person did was unleash malware onto your system in the disguise of all of this. Of course, they said, isn't that scam? Look, I provide it for free. The use of this software is a decision of the user. I don't see a scam opportunity here. Is it safe? No. Will it work with HiveOS? Yes, but you must modify the BIOS on a Windows computer. Yeah, in realistic terms, what was actually happening over here was this person basically infected your computer, and whether they keylogged or actually used your system to be part of some mining botnet is up to speculation. But if you downloaded this, well, you downloaded malware. And that isn't good. Now remember, when we go back to how people are using fake certificates, which could happen to anybody. Now to understand why I'm making this video specifically is, again, I know a lot of you guys watching are gamers. A lot of you guys and gals have gaming computers with nice NVIDIA graphic cards, okay? Some of y'all. Some of you use AMD, which in this case, as far as I know, you're totally safe. But to understand, this could happen to anybody. You can download software that can get by on your computer through any means necessary, okay? People fall for some stuff all the time, and there's no shame in it. But the reality is, when you're downloading the software, checking certificates might be one of the last things that you ever really think of. And it's something you really need to start doing. Remember, in the world of MITM attacks and people downloading faulty drivers from anywhere that look, pretty much identical to something you downloaded from the actual official website, there are a couple of rules to follow. If you're going to update drivers, download them from nvidia.com or the vendor that you're using. If you're downloading a fancy mouse driver from Logitech, download it from Logitech. A lot of drivers and support sites will have MD5 checksums, which are basically long strings of numbers that denote the fact that the file you download, if you MD5 checksum it, basically you check the actual MD5 hash of that file you downloaded, should match exactly what's on the vendor's website. If it doesn't, that means the file you just downloaded is modified. The MD5 sum denotes any differences in the file structure or what's in the contents. So if the file numbers are different, if the sums are different, that means you downloaded a potentially disgustingly malware-ridden file, and you need to delete it and download a fresh, clean one immediately, okay? So if you download anything like that and it comes with weird signed certificates, which, again, because they've been timestamped properly, can install appropriately on your system, you need to make sure that those licenses are completely valid, meaning the years have to match appropriately, and, the vendor obviously has to match, and there can't be any shenanigans in the process. If you download a piece of driver kit for a 3080 card in the year 2022, and somehow it's signed in the year 2014, you need to get it reassessed, because what you might have downloaded was a little bit questionable. Now, there are a couple ways to fix it, okay? There are a couple ways to prep yourself and put on a condom before you jump into the magical world of the internet, and that's to download something known as WDAC Policy Wizard. This is available right from Microsoft. This is the Windows Defender Application Control Wizard, and using this, you can deny dirty, disgusting drivers that have been signed inappropriately. Again, why am I mentioning all this? It's because, again, in the world of cybersecurity, because of the global events that are happening right now, hacking is so much more prevalent and it's getting so much more insane as the time has gone on. Again, because of this NVIDIA leak, people who have NVIDIA cards are facing issues with mal-signed drivers, and it's something you really do have to watch out for. People are sending malware-ridden files that are able to be installed because they've been signed appropriately, legally, under the eyes of Windows. And you need to make sure you know exactly what you're downloading, exactly what you're installing, and you need to install software that's going to make sure it adds the extra layer of security into your system right now. Look, you might be wondering, I got nothing to hide, Muda. I don't care if I'm hacked. Look, you might not care if you're hacked, but I do. And I don't want your computer to be part of some crappy botnet, and I don't want your computer to be keylogged. Hey, did you ever buy something on the internet? Did you ever put in your credit card information? Yeah, you better make sure you're not logged in that regards. Again, though, that being said, this is me, Mutahar, and I really wanted to get my piece out here. I wanted to really talk to you about this new hack that's emerging and something to really watch out for as time goes on. That said, though, this is me, Muta, and I got a Shenmue 2 video to completely finish up. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.